Ready, Lou?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Ma'am.
Like to call to order the town board. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee McDowell?
Here.
Trustee Ryerson?
Here.
Trustee Stackhouse?
Present.
Trustee Fisher?
Here.
Chairman Neal?
Here. Mr. Bremner, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, sir.
Please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very, very much. Okay, item 4, agenda changes. I would like to recommend that we delete item 6. It was left on by accident from last month's agenda, as well as under...
I just thought you liked it so much.
What's
you
that? Yeah,
didn't want
we might do it again. You know I would, but I know that it would irritate you guys. So I'm trying to stay on your good side. So under the authorized bills for payment under general assistance, the numbers are incorrect. The totals are correct, but the public support, that number, thanks to our studious trustee Fisher.
$24,318.95.
Wait, you got that, Cheryl?
What?
$24,318.95.
Got it.
And the operating expenses should be $24,763.60. Yeah, they still total up the same. They just, the breakout needed to be adjusted.
How I like this, yes. Okay, so, I recommend, do we have a motion?
I'll move that to make those changes.
Motion in a second, discussion. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee McDowell?
Aye.
Trustee Ryerson?
Aye.
Trustee Stackhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Chairman Neal?
Item 7, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on September 16th, 2025 at 6 p.m.
I think you missed them.
Did I miss something? Oh, are there any citizens' comments this evening? Mr. Brummer, you got anything for us?
Did you finish?
He does.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Awesome.
Supervisor, gentle ladies, honorable sirs, I stand before you this evening, as I do every year about this time, to respectfully remind you that on the 10th of November in 1775, a Continental Congress authorized Captain Samuel Nicholas to raise two battalions of seagoing soldiers to be known as Continental Marines. Ever since that date, every United States Marine everywhere has claimed the 10th of November as his or her birthday. Therefore, I respectfully call upon the board to send the appropriate birthday greetings to honor the Corps, to the Commandant of the Corps at Headquarters Marine Corps, 8th and I Southeast, Washington, D.C. Thank you, ma'am. I thank you all for your time, your courtesy, and your attention to this matter. I request permission to stand down.
Commission granted, sir. Thank you. Sandra, after the meeting, I will get do we have that address already? From doing it in the past, or I'm gonna, because he said it quickly, so I'll just get it after the meeting to make sure that we get that. Awesome, thank you very much. Any other citizens' comments? Yes, ma'am.
We had a really good summer this summer with the zinnias, and we moved forward with a lot of things, and I miss seeing them all around town. And I've had lots of comments from people how much they love them, and people from out of town that have come in. So I'm looking forward to next year being bigger and better.
Thanks to you. Oh my gosh, you and your crew. Juan
Those are good
and
guys.
Everardo and Janet and Joe, you guys, and Guillermo and Acostas, right? Just what an incredible job you guys did this year. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. The different businesses that you got involved. And
We had a team.
you had a team. You did. You were it. It was amazing. Well, and well, of course you know this because you were a part of it. It was that team that sprung the other team that ended up taking care of the cemetery, and you were part of that project too. So, yeah.
Oh,
When I found out you were over at the summer, I'm like, are you, she was like, well, I can't have them work without me.
Those are my guys.
It was very cool though, so you guys really, really did a lot this summer for our community. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, nothing else, so now I'll move to item 7, approval of minutes of the regular meeting held on September 16th at 6 p.m. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? I just want to commend you, Cheryl, for how you synthesized the whole volunteer awards thing. That was brilliant. It's very,
I wasn't gonna put that whole.
no, you did very well, so I just want to give you kudos for that. And so, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee McDowell?
Aye.
Trustee Ryerson? Trustee Stackhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Chairman Neal?
Aye. Item 8, authorized bills for payment for September. Trustee Fisher.
Yes, I'd like to ask for approval for the September bills to pay the amount of $124,801.11.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Everybody's good? Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee McDowell?
Aye.
Trustee Ryerson? Trustee Stackhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Chairman Neal?
Aye. Next item on the agenda is just to receive and place on file the annual treasurer's report for fiscal year ending April 30th, 2025. Is there a motion? Is this the one I signed for you, Sharon?
Yes.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee McDowell?
Aye.
Trustee Ryerson? Trustee Stackhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Chairman Neal?
Thank you very, very much.
Chairman Neal?
Oh, aye. Keep me focused. That's what happens every time I like run into a meeting, instead of having a few minutes, I get like, it's okay, that's all right, it's all good. Item 10, receive and place on file audit for year ending April 30th, 2025. Everybody got a copy of the audit? Oh,
Didn't know if they actually wanted a full audit or,
In the book.
they
yeah.
can always give it back, but you get a link.
See, that's what I said.
Yes. Michelle.
Thank you.
There you go.
I think I got this already.
Hot off the press, as is the treasurer's report. So this is just to receive and place on file the audit. So you have plenty of time to read it in your spare time. There's nothing that is negative against us, I promise you that, or I would have told you a week ago. Is there a motion to receive and place on file?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee McDowell?
Aye.
Trustee Ryerson? Trustee Stackhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Chairman Neal?
Aye. Item 11, levy recommendation for discussion. Chief Operating Officer Usher.
the recommendation is to keep the levy flat, recognizing that we will be abating 75% of CJA, which is just under 185,000. And so, what I wanna do is just go over the different, components that's in your packet. I wanted to start with Social Security, if you guys can look at that.
I think that would be this sheet.
Just Social Security? Is that-
For
Starting.
now, starting with Social Security.
Oh, okay.
We'll work our way backwards or forward. So I would like, looking at the actual disbursement, the amount, keeps rising. However, within the levy amount, the recommendation is also to stay fat because it's within the same 50,000 that we levy for. So our recommendation is to stay flat for the Social Security. Any questions on that one? Okay, looking at IMRF, the actual disbursement, the amount has come down compared to previous years. Looking at the beginning balance, we recommend reducing the amount, to 5,000 from 50,000. Any questions on that one?
Don't worry, we need it somewhere else, so.
She was supposed to wait till I get to
Oh,
that.
sorry.
Then moving on to general assistance, actual disbursement, we closed out last year with just over 426,000. And then looking over at the, corner to the beginning balance, which has increased due to CJA grant. Knowing our goal, it is to have a beginning balance of 121,875. The recommendation is to decrease the fund by $10,000, and due to the fact that 75% abatement will come out of GA.
So that 184,000 will come out of
Correct.
this fund.
Yes. Any questions on that piece? Alright. In doing the math, the decrease of both GA and IMRF will leave us with a surplus of 55,000. Now moving on to town fund, if you look at the actual disbursement, last year totals was 851,418, and we brought in under 700,000. Looking at our beginning balance, in couple of years, we will significantly lower our goal amount, which our goal amount is 258,750. So we have lowered our beginning balance over the years, and now it's at the point where we do have to increase it. And the recommendation is to fund this amount by the 55,000 that we reduce the other funds by. And this will keep our levy flat. The levy will be reduced by 17% by abatement.
It will be 17% that the whole levy will be reduced.
Correct.
Wow.
So levy will be flat, and we're also abating?
75%, yes.
We're abating, so the CJA funds that we got, 184,000 of that is 75% of that.
Okay.
And so that's what we'll be abating, and we'll keep it flat, so
Yeah.
it will go down. But just so long, as we pause at the town fund, just so that you know, like years ago, when I brought up, because the beginning balance was so high, this was a little bit before your time, but the beginning balance was rather high, and so we needed to bring it down, and so we've been levying low to use up some of that fund balance. So every year we've been levying for less money than our actual expenses are. And so we've been warning forever and ever that like there's gonna come a point where we're gonna have to level it out and start going back up. And we've held it out pretty well, but if you look at, if we keep going exactly the way we are, by 2031, we'll be bankrupt. You know, we won't have money to pay the bills, so we have to start bringing that back up a little bit, so. And just to say out loud, like so if you look at like the projected budget for any of the years and what the actual disbursement was, we budget for more than we actually spend, because we don't, we're not like some offices that we wanna spend out every line item, we just use what we need and then roll it over the next year. So yeah, I just wanna give you guys a heads up moving forward.
Yeah, well, it's a trend that I hope will continue,
Of what?
of
which?
keeping the levy flat.
Yeah, but that's what I'm hearing.
I know, yeah,
I'm specifically priming you, Mike, just saying. I've been saying this from the beginning, we've been going lower.
I don't know if I'll be around in 2031, but
You and me both. And so, I'll just say, Sandra, I just wanna say thank you so much for all your work that you did on the levy and how you just embrace it and help us to figure it out and keep us going smooth, so thank you. Okay, any questions? Oh wait, do we need to make a motion?
No.
Oh, this is just discussion?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll be voting on that at the next board meeting. Okay. Next item, affordable housing tax credit for Assessor Davis.
Good evening. I sent some documentation to you guys, a memo just letting you know or asking you all to read the legislation that was put in place for the low-income affordable housing for for Illinois. The way it was set up, the chief county assessment officer is the one that would that would make the adjustments for applicants that qualify for this program. So the county assessor makes the adjustments to my books on whichever parcel is approved. So last year was the first year that we got an applicant, and it was the Hebrans. And I was notified by way of completing my edits, or when I turn my books in, the county audits my books and they'll say, hey, look at these things, they look different, or validate if these values are right for anything that may look quirky, or the values may look very high or something like that. And so in going through that, so when I found out that, I had this reduction, and so we don't get any advance notice of anything. We just find out when, after it's been applied to our books, and, that's it as far as how the process goes right now. So, I had a whole bunch of questions last year, and I, put my questions out there, and some of them were answered, some of them weren't. Last year was the first year that Lake County actually had the program, so they were in the process of getting all the guidelines and everything together of exactly what it was going to look like. And so, a lot of my questions were good questions. They were just some that could not be answered at that time. So anyway, moving forward, I just made a note to make sure that I reached out to find out, right around the time that I closed my books, or, by the deadline, because the application deadline is June the 30th every year. If I had any, just so I can have a heads up and know what's going on with the values here. And so in doing that, I found out this year that we had another applicant, and a newer applicant, but the old applicant from last year, they have to renew every year. And we're talking rental properties, I'm sorry, just so you guys know, we're talking rental properties, apartment complexes, housing that qualifies. And so the old property that was approved last year, they sent their renewal application in, and the person that works at the county that vets the application, she said, well, they didn't meet, the application requirements for renewal, so I just want you to know that they get an extra 30 days to get their information in. And we hadn't gotten that information. So she said, so it looks like they're not going to be approved. Let me back up again. Every year I have to bring the values back up. And it's just like, valuing them all over again, because if they're not approved, then you're giving them what the current value should be on those properties. Y'all with me so far? I know this is a lot. Okay. So the old one is back on, they didn't make it, but the new one came in. So in reviewing that, I had a lot more questions. And so my biggest concern, the reason why I'm talking to you guys about this today, is because I have a real concern of where this is going. So let me give you an idea. For the current one that we have at the table this year, they have a current value right now of roughly 4.5 million. The program is set, if you saw the parameters, they can get up to 35%. So I'm gonna give you worst case scenario. You take 35% off of that value, that's a little over 1.5 million that we would lose, right? And so,
Quick question. That's not a dollar for dollar loss, that's just a reduction in the assessed value.
I'm talking market value. So just to give you the overall, so market value but then you do the math to go down to the assessed value. So assessed value would be like a little over $500,000, right? And then you do the math to figure out what the tax bill would be. So that roughly might be around $68,000-$70,000 that we would lose. If they continue to renew this application every year, then, we do revalue it each year, bring the value back up. And so whatever that value is, you do the calculation again and then you get the reduction, for as long as they qualify for it. In the paperwork that I brought today with the July updates, it was, the application process was initially only to be until December of 2027. Now they've extended it. And then it was, I want to say 10-year increments that they could they could have this assessment, preferential assessment, as long as they are able to renew, and they can renew 2 or 3 times. I think that was the initial, but now it's extended. Really, to me, it's almost as if this is, kind of going to where it's going to be like an indefinite thing. They're saying they extend the application period for the program from 27 to 34, and this allows the eligibility periods to extend beyond the sunset date for their application period, if approved prior to the end of the application period. And then it's opening up. The main thing that I have a concern about is that it's opening up a opportunity for us to lose a lot of the tax base. And because if every apartment complex went and did this, that's 35% that you're taking off of every apartment complex that qualifies for this. And yep.
I have a question about the existing unit. So it says replacement or renovation of at least 2 primary building systems, which you were kind enough to give us a list of those. But my question is that a renovation or replacement that they're doing every application year? Or do I get to make that renovation once and then continue to renew up to 10 years on that one renovation?
That's my understanding, is that it's once, and then the renewal process is that they have a couple of ways that they certify that. So some of them have, some of their residents have housing certification, like the Section 8 vouchers, and as long as you can validate that your residents that you're claiming to fall under that category continue to have that housing certification, you certify that you have that from your residents. Or some people may have a lease. Some companies may have leases and they require like a photo ID and W-2 validating their low-income status, which qualifies them for the program with the, say, like independent or private owners and things. So that's my understanding from when I verified what the renewal guidelines were last year. I know they've been making a lot of changes and stuff. I don't know for sure if anything else has changed as far as that's concerned, but that was what I got out of the county last year. So they're not actually, the other part is that the business owners are certifying this stuff. If you read through the fine print, they're basically signing like a certification, saying I'm validating that I'm doing this, or I got this information, or this is what the costs were, and things like that. And that's all that the county really has to get in order to verify it, validate it, and move forward. So to me, the documentation and the validation and that kind of stuff, I just feel like it's kind of loosely done. And, I have already had, business owners calling because they've just found out about it, and they're like, oh, well, can I, is it too late? Can I get it done? Can I backdate my application? Like, so we know that the word is out there in the streets. And so I am just bringing this to the table because it makes me very nervous of, our numbers going backwards. Like, we just got over to where we have more homeowners than rental properties, and then now, going backwards as far as, what that's gonna look like, with our values, with our, with the township, and with, ownership, because this money is just gonna be thrown back on the taxpayers. That is not paid by them. And so that's the ultimate
Assessor Davis,
concern that I have.
so it's obviously very beneficial to the rental property owner.
It is.
Are they required to pass on that savings, that tax savings to the renters?
No, that was a question that I had last year, and the answer was no.
So what benefit is this legislation to our community?
To the landlord.
To the landlords.
It's benefit to the
Is
landlord.
what I see, yeah.
None. Is that
Right,
None.
right. And, yeah, so I, even asked, what else did I ask that I wanted to? Oh, I asked about, the sale of properties, and transfers, and if I am not mistaken, if, one of the apartment complexes sold to someone else, the assessment still stays with the building. So, and as long as, I guess, they can continue to validate that information for the tenants and things like that, they would still get it. I'm not sure if that's changed, but that was what I verified last year for this as well. So, it's not even like, they would have to start all over, as a new owner. It stays with the property, just like, some other exemptions. A home improvement exemption would stay with a property if someone did an improvement on the property and sold it. That home improvement exemption would stay on that property for the duration of the time that it was, to be on that property. So I'm thinking they're thinking along those same lines. So it's, it's not going away if something like that happens, because, right now the market has been to where some apartment buildings and things have been sold. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys understood that part. But, and not trying to take anything away from the county. The county is doing, basically their job. Their job is to apply the, assessment, only. They don't have any control over the legislation that was brought to them. They're just operating off of, how they're interpreting it. So the other part of the situation that I have an issue with is how it's being interpreted, because there's some variances that I've heard and I've seen. And so I do have a meeting scheduled with Senator Mary Edley Allen, and I did just have a conversation with Joyce Mason's office. They're researching it. And so the county has referred us to them to try to get some help and assistance and, more conversation about it, because it's just out of their hands at their level. And the, if I'm not mistaken, the application date has extended to 2034. And so, the year rolls around fast, and I don't know what else, at this point can be done, if anything can be done. But I'm looking for suggestions of any ideas that you guys may have that I can bring forth when I talk to, the Senator and Representative Mason. And, you know, my main concern is this coming back on our residents. We have so many other things that we know that are coming down the pipe as well. And so I just want to give you guys a heads up of just one more thing.
When you think about it, like the veterans credit, and
Mhm.
then this credit for those landlords, and then, you know, the situation with City Hall, we thought things were bad. Right? It could be, if we don't work together to come up with a plan, it's gonna be
Yeah.
devastating for our community.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really artificially increase the assessment of any property. You have a way that you
Mhm.
make the assessment, so we're stuck with this, it looks like.
At the
So-
moment.
They changed the legislation.
Yeah,
At
I guess
the
a
moment.
couple of my takeaways, I mean, for one, thank you for putting all this together and letting us know, but, I think that transparency on the annual application process,
Mm-hmm.
and since the legislation is relatively new, if we can add things to that. So I see they list for if new construction, all contractor statements and building permits.
Mm-hmm.
So even for existing qualifying rehabs, if those also go through our building department, just to try and, if they're gonna keep it, have some sort of transparency where we can validate the renovations and rehab that are actually coming through. So we have some vision into that. And then I guess also just understanding the different levers on option A, B, and C.
Yeah, those are definitely, you know, some of the things
I
that
guess my last takeaway is like for city council and operations is if we have any new applications coming through for housing units, that we're cognizant of this legislation before we make any approvals to any large projects.
absolutely.
Which
Yes.
isn't it interesting, because isn't it kind of productive and intuitive for anybody having low-income housing? Because now communities will be less hesitant to say yes when they're trying to get communities to be more.
Is there
like
like a percentage limit on?
No, that's one of the first things that I, that I asked, you know, my chief county assessment, and he said, you know, he can't do anything, it's not his call. So that's something that we would have to get,
Yeah.
you know, amended to have them allow that. And he knows and he understands, trust me, what we have going on here. And, you know, but he said that's just something that he can't do. But that's not to say that you can't try to get it amended to where you can have it, have a limit, you know, because I was thinking, okay, could we, you know, if we were able to do something, no, actually, I was talking to, Commissioner Frierson, and we were talking about having limitations, you know, at the local level. So he said I need to talk to the reps about that too, just to be able
And I would think without us being home rule, we can't put any limitations.
So, Assessor Davis, if you were to guess, or maybe you know, what would be the motivation for putting forth this type of legislation?
Good question.
What would be the motivation for someone to put forth this
Yeah.
type of legislation? I understand that there is a need for affordable housing. And so that's just, you know, because of the inflated rental rates and stuff, once housing went up, you know, a lot of people need a place to stay, and they, you know, the income is not matching the increase in the rates and stuff for renting. So, you know, a lot of people wanted to make sure that you had something in place to where people can have a place to stay. I don't have a problem with that, but just this application process and, like I said, the loosely written guidelines and things, it's just opening it up to where it's gonna wipe out the tax base. The other part that's the kicker for me is that, say, you know, you have a complex that they're getting subsidized housing assistance. Then they have, you know, a partnership with another nonprofit, and they're getting grant funds because they're renting to some low-income housing. So they're getting all these different layers. That amendment that they just did in July is saying, in addition to those layered other, options that they have to help them with their organization, they can still get this assessment. And then the real kicker for me is that on top of all of that, and they can get all of those exemptions, they still have the right to appeal their value if they want to. So they can say, I got all this and I'm getting all these reductions. I still don't like that value because of X, Y, Z, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. And they can go through the appeal process because that's the guidelines, that's the, that's the rules. So,
And from what you said, like, you guys can hold to it, county can hold to it, but then they appeal it to the state. And the state
absolutely,
just, okay, we'll reduce it. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
So people know how to play the game.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, there's just all these different layers. And so I just want to make sure that you guys are aware. And I am working hard, trust me, trying to communicate with people. And it didn't just happen to us. It's a couple of other places in Lake County. So last year it was only 5 applications. Because when I found out about it, I was blindsided. I immediately went and asked all my assessors, like, am I the only one that got this? Do y'all know about this? And then, someone was like, oh, yeah. But, I guess the reason why I'm so passionate is because we're not the Libertyville that got it. You can lose, $1.5 million, and it might just be a drop in the bucket for you guys, But this year, I had another colleague in another township, and the math just wasn't even mathing once it was done, and she lost like $2.5 million in value on one apartment complex, and they only did like $800,000 and something in renovations and things. So it's and we can see it, like, people are, and it's more applications this year than it was last year. So we can see it starting, to be a common thing that's known, and it could be, it could evolve and, really mess things up if we don't get a hold of it. And
If that deadline is June 30th, are we able to FOIA the applications before, like, the numbers actually come out, just to get in front of you?
so June 30th is the application deadline, but then the person looking at the application still has to look through all of those, approve and not approve, adjust that, and, those values. So that could be on into now. I don't know, I don't know, how many she has. I know, she spoke of, speaking about that deadline and things like that. And then you have the ones that may not have their application completed June 30th, so then they get extra 30 days to get whatever done after you reviewed it. So, it's only one person up there that's reviewing those applications. So like I said, I don't know what, her workload is like, and what she's dealing with and things like that. But I know it's a lot, and I know she's doing, she's doing her very best in things. So I would think that the information should be able to be FOIA'd, but like what kind of time frame and things like that, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you for asking questions.
Oh.
Thank you. Yeah, keep asking
No,
the questions.
no problem, trust me.
Good.
Trust me.
So it's at the state level that's gotta be changed, those guidelines,
Right,
they gotta
right.
be changed at the state level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
definitely gonna see what we can do about it.
Yes.
Now your report?
Oh, well, after that, my report, we actually closed on the 6th, closed our book, our appeals. And now we're just working through getting them completed for hearings. Our residential hearings begin on November the 13th until they're completed, so all of them have not been scheduled. We initially ended up with 213 appeals, but one got locked up somehow in the system, and so I want to say it's I wanna say it was like 225, 23, 25, I'm sorry. I can give you the exact number next month, but, it was quite a few more that came in for this one parcel. So, you know, we're looking through those, and any of those that we can, you know, negotiate with them, we do. But if it's something that we, you know, stand by our values, then we will be going to hearing. You know, our CCAO is expecting us to finish our hearings before Christmas. I hope so too. So that's, you know, that's always the goal. So, you know, our commercial hearings will probably won't be until November. We do have the hearing for City of Hope, but that has not been scheduled yet. So I'll definitely let you guys know when that will be scheduled. And other than that, that's basically all that we're doing in the office right now. And we'll be closed in observance of Veterans Day on Tuesday, November 12th. That's it.
One correction, it's November 11th.
Oh, sorry, November the 11th. It's probably a cut and paste. So November 11th, Tuesday.
Any questions, comments, kudos? You got some kudos. You deserve a lot of them, so thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, and next supervisor's report and announcement. I went through a few of those. Again, we'll be closed November 11th. We'll also be closed on November 27th and 28th for Thanksgiving. And then on November 10th through the 12th, myself, Assessor Davis, and then two staff, Sandra and Erica, are going to be going down to Springfield for the Township Officials Conference. We have two staff that'll be staying in our office, your office, so both the offices will remain open for the conference. And then next we have the monthly services report that just says number of calls and things that we've taken in. And I'm wondering, Trustee Stackhouse, if I could have coffee with you and go over this, and it's been a couple of years since we've looked at it, and I'd be really curious to get your input and how we can make it more informative. It feels like a lot of jargon and stuff. And so I was talking to the team about like, how do we tweak it? And I was like, maybe you and I could work on that if you wouldn't mind.
Not at all, and that was one of my comments, the incoming calls went down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thank God.
I know, and that's good, that's
Thank
good,
God they went down a little bit.
yes.
Yeah, because just to share, I'll skip down to the bottom of my report a little bit. So, you guys have heard the story, but it's worth repeating again. Years ago, Community Action Partnership cut their budget, and they used to have their employees go to each of the senior buildings and complete the LACI, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance applications with the seniors. They stopped doing it. So then the seniors would have to go to Waukegan to get those applications completed. And so I meet the seniors once a month for coffee, and they're like, Sherry, why can't your staff do it? I was like, because there's 5 of us, right, total, in the whole place, there's no way we can cover that. So I came back to the office, and at staff meeting, Adriana Ortiz asked the magical question of, what if we can't? I was like, how do we do it? And she was like, well, what if we go over there and you make all the copies and I'll do the applications and let's just see how many we can get done. Well, we got 22 applications done in that 2 hours. Now, normally, somebody, hello, Don Linder. So normally, we would go, people would come in for an appointment, and it's a 30-minute appointment for one person. So in 2 hours, we completed 22 applications, right? And so we came back to the office, and we're like, wait a minute, what are we doing, right? How do we do this better? And just to share with you, like, this last week, we had 28 applications completed in our office. In like, it was an hour and 45 minutes that they had all of them done. Now, granted, they have a ton of paperwork to do afterwards, but not only that, Naomi at the same time is doing RTA applications, making appointments for passports, answering the phones, doing faxing. I was like, just stood there in awe of like the team that we have over at Zion Township. They work so hard. I have never once said, never once heard them say, this is too much, right? And it was too much. The place was packed, it was crazy, and we got done, and they were like, okay, we're tired. I was like, but it's good. And they're like, that was good, right? And so I really just want to, like, I'm so grateful for the team that we have over there that's willing to put themselves out there, so.
That is good.
So, yeah, so if it were just phone calls, it would be easy.
Right.
But So yeah, so that said, with the different work that's done here, we'd really like to be able to showcase the monthly services report on the website, but as I looked at it, I was like, yeah, we need somebody that doesn't have our glazed eye to look at it with us, so I'll reach out to you this month and
Okay.
see if we can make a copy. That would be awesome.
Sure.
On top of that, so on top of everything that Assessor Davis has going on, she is also in charge of the Zion Benton Leadership Academy. And Kevin McCoy is here today as one of the members of the Zion Benton Leadership Academy. One of the
Yes.
challenges for eeach of the participants is to go to different board meetings. So last month we had a couple people here. So it's really delight to have you here, Kevin, so. But this year's group, there are 11 participants, and they're just incredible. It is just such a fun, I don't wanna miss it, it's so much fun. So thank you
Absolutely.
for keeping that fire going, right? So Sandra too, Sandra does all of the back office work to keep it going, and the booklets and the certificates and the invitations and attendance sheets, all the stuff, so kudos. And I just show up and play, so it's really fun.
Is the graduation still at the same place in Winthrop Harbor?
Yep,
Yeah,
Okay.
November.
Saturday, November 1st,
At 8?
9.
9,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
get you the
anybody-
invitation.
Any of you are invited to come to the November 1st event. And all of this is part of the Coalition Growth Communities that
Mhm.
Richard has been carrying the fire for so long. And so in bringing that up, the Zion Township team has been working with there's two people that stepped up to be part of the Wellness Task Force. And it's Katie Easton from the hospital, and then Erica Delgado, who is our full-time licensed social worker. And we've got a lot going on with that. We've been doing focus groups in the community with different groups to kind of find out like the state of mental health and what people are needing and what they're wanting and what we can do with that. And they'll be given a report at the coalition meeting on Friday about that. But really intrigued by where this is going. Actually, Erica and Adriana and Katie are gonna be meeting with all of the staff at East Elementary and at West Elementary, to talk to them, and they're both bilingual schools, so to kind of get a close for what's going on with that, so, very excited about that. We have been, working diligently to, launch Big Brothers Big Sisters. Again, Kevin McCoy is one of the first people to sign up, and he matched with a little. Thank you for that. We are still 11 bigs short to make it a full group. They're gonna move ahead with it anyway, but we're looking for 11 more adults that are interested in being paired up with a kid in the community to just help them not just survive but thrive. So if anybody's interested in that, I would love to give you more information. The Zion Quarterly is out. We're geared up again with Pastor Mike McDowell and his team and Santa's Helpers to support 80 families for the Elk Network. We've got that going. It's a partnership between Santa's Helpers, an organization.
Santa's Volunteers.
Santa's, oh, is it Santa's Volunteers? They kept it SB. Okay, Santa's Volunteers, thank you. Who is actually, the way that we connected with them, the owner of the Warwick Building and the BAT Building. Rick DeLille, he is very involved with that, so he's the one that got us in there, and we used to be able to do 40 families, now we have all of the families with that group, so, but Pastor McDowell's youth group goes down there along with him and his wife and does all the packing and brings it up here, and they used to have to, it used to be much more complicated, and they've streamlined it so well that it's.
We've got
it's
good
amazing.
people.
Really good people.
Yeah.
So, and then PetSmart donates through Lynette Van Haverbeek, and yeah, it's just a really, really good organization with things. Additionally, so I talked about LIHEAP. We are doing the applications again every Monday from 9 until 11 a.m. So we started on October 6th, and it's been a madhouse. So if you need anything else, don't come on Mondays from 9 until 11 a.m. Any other time, because it is crazy. And then another kudos to Sandra. She does this thing every year. She gets a hold of the Secretary of State's office and partners with the library and brings out the mobile driver services facility. And we had 50 residents that were taken care of at that. So
That's
very
really
grateful
good.
for that.
That is really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then just one other thing, so Lou was sharing about you know, how good the downtown looked. And, you know, one of the other things that we're doing in and for the community, both Erica, Adriana, and myself got trained in just doing home visits to help residents that are scared and won't come out, to teach them some of the things that they can do to protect themselves from the ICE situation. Guillermo Arizmende, who is my neighbor and one of the volunteers that planted zinnias downtown, he was taken, if you saw the Facebook post where the 2 landscape trucks and the 2 trailers were just left at the gas pumps, and they came and took the 4 individuals in their vehicles. That was him and his crew. So 2 of his crew have been deported. The family is working really hard for him not to be deported. So my team has been helping with notarizing all of the documents, because they all have to be notarized, and whatever we can do to support that. So it just, he has no criminal record. He's had a business and you know, since 2002, and
They took it from Zion?
yeah. He does a lot of the landscaping for the city, right, so,
Yeah.
really, just literally one of the most incredible human beings I know. I mean, just kind and so hardworking, and cares so much about this community.
Yeah.
So it's keeping prayers that, he got moved to Michigan. They're trying to get him closer. So far, no luck, but at least he's still in the United States, so we're glad for that. And then, just one last thing, so we've been working with this group that actually started with Richard's mother-in-law, Felicia Lewis, Zion's Beyond Barriers Network, and we actually made little business cards identifying and overcoming barriers in the Zion community. And it says, disabilities come in many forms. We care about all physical, cognitive, developmental, mental, emotional, visual, and hearing. Bringing awareness, building community. Just join us, monthly gathering the last Thursday of the month at 2 p.m. at Zion Township. And then for more information, beyondbarriers@gmail.com. So the crew that's involved in this put these little business cards together. So if you come across anybody in the community that's in a wheelchair or anything, and you want to give them one of these cards to see if they want to be a part of this group, I would love to have you promote it. So pass those down. That is all that I have for you. Am I missing anything? Is there anything else to come before the board?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, I request permission to address Clerk Spooner direct.
Sure. I don't know, wait, is it okay?
Clerk Spooner, will you please amend my earlier remarks to show that this year, 2025, is the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps. Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely, thank you, sir. Okay, is there anything to come before the board? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Motion second, discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.